As we celebrate Black history, we celebrate one of our own.
Barbara Boyd is a pioneer here at WRTV. She is the first African-American woman reporter in the state.
And one of the first Black women to anchor a newscast, not only in Indiana, but in the U.S. I sat down with Barbara Boyd to discuss history and her role in it.
Let's explore some of the other ways you can use the camcorder.
News' Barbara Boyd has details.
Barbara Boyd follows up. Barbara, what about the owner? News' Barbara Boyd has that story.
Barbara, we'd have to wait for a court disposition.
Reporter Barbara Boyd has been following this story.
Everybody loves Barbara, and I love everybody.
Her name means something in our state.
And proclaim this Barbara Boyd Day. Congratulations, Barbara.
And it means something at our station.
How you doing, sweetheart?
How are you?
Good, good, good.
Welcome back. Good to see you. Good to see you.
We invited Barbara Boyd back to the place that was her second home for 25 years.
Hey, you.
How you doing?
Oh, good to see you.
Where she saw familiar faces and new ones, too.
Good to meet you. I've heard so much about you. What an honor.
Still, everyone knows her name.
Hey, Taddeo. No. I know you know all the right things to do, but just in case, here are a few reminders.
It was February 1969. Barbara Boyd started working at WRTV. You remember that first day? What was that like? What were you feeling?
Oh, I was lost. Nobody helped. You come in there, people assume you know what's going on.
Tough enough to be a woman in what was a man's industry at the time, but to be a Black woman? She remembers the one time early on she was underestimated.
I don't think you suited for this. I don't think you'll make it here. That's all I need to hear. I was gonna make it hella high water, you know, not only for myself, but I know that there are Black people in this city that were dependent on me to do well. And I wasn't gonna let them down. I wasn't gonna let my family down. And most of all, I wasn't letting me down because I had been challenged.
What about the quality of the goods?
Barbara caught on quickly and excelled at her beat, consumer affairs.
While you might be able to get many of these items at a good price, nothing beats a close-up inspection of the items you plan to buy.
In 1969, she was making history as the first Black woman reporter in Indianapolis and watching history working during the tail end of the civil rights movement. What was the mood of the country and the city here?
Oh, it was hot and revvy. It was the burning of on Indiana Avenue, burning down the grocery store. It was not cool. It was just tension, you know, people, you know, didn't sort of trust one another. There was a real divide there. And rioting, minor rioting, not a lot, but on the avenue, when they burned down that grocery store on the avenue, that was serious stuff.
This was the climate of the late 60s and early 70s, but for Barbara,
I really never had a problem, personally.
She was bridging racial gaps in her own special way.
And I tell you what, I can't change the whole situation between Black people and white people. But I tell you what I can do. I can relate to you one-on-one. I can change my own little world.
Do you come here to the center?
Yes, I come here and do volunteer work. So I said, get over here with your friends.
Using her reports and her man-on-the-street interviews to make connections. Do you think you made a difference one person at a time?
I do. I really do.
In 1973, Barbara would make history again, and this report connected with so many women.
Just so happens I'm one of those women who is practicing self-breast examination each month. Well, this last time I found a lump and immediately made an appointment with my doctor.
Reporting from her hospital bed at Community Health as she recovered from a mastectomy. You were very open about your battle with cancer. Why?
Why not? And I tell you why. I'm 93 years old. And I, today, do not mind telling people I had cancer because of what it says, or what I wanted to say. Hey, look, you don't have to sit up in a corner because you have breast cancer. You don't have to be ashamed of this. And I wasn't.
Barbara had used her own experience to empower women to take control of their health.
But I did go around the country promoting it at different radio stations about the importance of self-breast examination and catching that nodule or whatever, that first pain early.
Now here we are in 1978. This is what $50 would buy today.
Barbara's reports hit households, helping people stretch a dollar or understand inflation.
$83.15. Well, that's inflation for you.
At the time, Barbara was just doing her work.
The wonderful world of technology.
Never focused on the fact that she was paving the way for other black women journalists, like WRTV alum Erica Fly, who sat down with Barbara nearly a decade ago.
In 2000, Barbara Boyd became the first African-American female to be inducted into the Indiana Journalism Hall of Fame.
Her impact is still strong. The day before we sat down for this interview, we received an email from a viewer trying to reach Barbara, which I had her read aloud.
I remember growing up and being in awe of Ms. Boyd on WRTV and feeling representation by seeing her black face on the television.
Barbara Boyd retired from WRTV in 1994, and today at 93, she has a message for young black women.
Don't be afraid to do whatever you want to do, not just in journalism.
And she still stays young, living out her mantra, which for years was her signature sign-off at the end of her newscasts.
You have a
Great day and stay on top of the world.
And stay on top of the world.
I love that ending.
Isn't that great? Barbara may have been the first black woman journalist in indie TV airwaves here, but she tells me that she is proud to see people of color on every local station now and feels honored to be a part of that legacy.
It's amazing. Well, Barbara received so many accolades during her career, from the Indiana Association of Broadcasters to the American Cancer Society. Great job with that story.
Turns 94 years young this spring.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
And
She looks amazing.
It's not amazing in the Boyd family. Her mom lived to be 103.
Wow.
And so what I've learned from her mother, nicknamed Peaches because she was born in Augusta, Georgia, and Barbara, is that attitude is everything.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
is.
she just lightens things
too.
up. And so I think this happy vibe leads to long life.
I love when she comes by for a visit.
Yeah,
Great
it's good to see. All right, Barbara, don't step outside now. It's not nearly as warm as it was 2 hours ago.